at 10. First, the highlights. Lagos State Deputy Governor tasks Army recruits from Lagos on good conduct, professional etiquette. President Tinubu orders disbursement of 155 billion naira food package for households. On the foreign team, one person died, others injured as India's main airport roof collapses. And in Sport, International Olympic Committee invites 39 Russian, 17 Belarusian athletes to compete as neutrals at 2024 Paris Games. And now the details. I am Mike James. Lagos State Deputy Governor Obafemi Hamzat has admonished state candidates for the 87th regular recruit intake of the Nigerian Army to be good and courageous representatives of the state. Hamzat gave the charge during his visitation to the candidates at the military cantonment in Keja, urging them to always remember their homes and upbringing and be rest assured that their state supports them. He said he is happy and proud that the candidates were enlisted among the several that applied, noting that their selection already testified that they have succeeded. Hamzat assured the candidates of better experiences as officers of the Nigerian Army when compared to those that preceded them. Also, Secretary to the Lagos State Government, Bimbola Salunde, reiterated the commitment of the state government to the prioritization of the welfare of the Lagos State candidates, noting that this is the first time the Lagos State candidates have had it so good. Salunde said the provision of accommodation, feeding, transport fares and sensitization on the need to register for the 87 regular recruit intake recruitment testified to the state government for their love and support for the candidates. Members of staff of Lagos Traffic Radio have been urged to continue to imbibe attitudinal change by developing a positive mindset towards work. The Managing Director and Chief Executive Officer, Nisrael Consulting Okpe Amushon, who made the call at the station staff forum, commended the members of staff for their professionalism. In his presentation, Amushon described perception as gateway to attitudinal change while also calling for self-assessment, evaluation in a bid to reprogram oneself to embrace new ideas and skills needed for growth.
Whatever you are doing and it's not positive, then you have to look at it. And you see, positive, negative, they sound so similar. But the one you pick is what will actually determine how your life will be. If what you see is positive, your life will be positive. If you see correctly, you will behave correctly. Some people will not behave correctly and are not behaving correctly because they are not seeing correctly. If someone is saying that I'm just being cheated here, that person will not give effect.
Amushon, who cautioned against low self-esteem, fear, anger, resentment and inability to handle change, particularly also warned women not to saddle themselves with so much responsibilities for the safety of their health. He emphasized the need to foster harmonious relationships at work, transform one's thinking as well as attitudinal monitoring impact and effect on relationships. In line with its strategic transportation master plan, the Lagos State government has called for the collaboration of public transport bus operators, that is, Kurukmi doubtful bus drivers, as it releases the restructuring plans to improve commuting experience. Speaking at a meeting with bus operators and union leaders in the state, Special Advisor to the Governor on Transportation, Shola Giwa, described the current state of bus operations on the corridor as chaotic. Hence, the need for collaboration to successfully regulate and integrate the informal transport sector into the state's bus reform initiative using Lekki-Ekpe corridor as a pilot test. Giwa explains that the Lekki-Ekpe corridor had been inspected by the Ministry of Transportation and Lagos Metropolitan Transport Authority to identify limitations of seamless traffic flow among the expressway and adjoining roads and had mapped out systematic framework to address these challenges. Some of the planned solutions, according to him, include restructuring of the existing unregulated public transport bus operations on the Lekki-Ekpe corridor, deployment of high-capacity buses on the corridor as stated in the Lagos Transport Policy and the bus route network, reallocation and relocation of Kurukbe minibuses to inner routes, re-registration and recertification of all buses. Others are the introduction of e-ticketing system, provision of transport infrastructure, lay-by terminal, regulation and standardization of bus operations, improved transportation services. And now to the rest of the stories. President Bola Tinubu has approved the National Construction and Household Support Program. The president, who gave the approval during the National Economic Council NEC meeting, ordered the purchase and selling of foodstuffs worth 155 billion naira to be distributed across the nation. Tinubu urged state governors to work together to meet the needs of citizens. According to a statement issued by the presidential spokesman, Ajuri Ingilali, the program is aimed at boosting agricultural productivity, strengthening the economy, and providing immediate economic relief for Nigerian households. Ngilali said the program includes financial allocations and infrastructure projects across all geopolitical zones in the country. He added that a key component of the program is the approval of the 50,000 naira uplift grant to be distributed to 100,000 families per state for 3 months. The federal government has approved the disbursement of 12,911 billion naira through the Basic Healthcare Provision Fund. The amount represents the 2023 fund for 1 quarter to be utilized in the 3rd quarter of 2024. This is according to the 2020 Basic Healthcare Provision Fund (BHCPF) guideline, pending the review of the new guideline. Coordinating Minister of Health and Social Welfare, Muhammad Pate, said this at the 7th meeting of the BHCPF Ministerial Oversight Committee in Abuja. A devastating fire outbreak has struck the Karu market in the Federal Capital Territory, leaving a trail of destruction and loss. Goods and properties worth millions of naira have been reduced to ashes, leaving traders and shoppers in a state of despair. The FCT Fire Service, with a station in Karu Market, responded to the incident, faced challenges in accessing the scene due to the large crowd of people flocking to the area. Despite the challenges, soldiers were on ground to maintain order and ensure the safety of everyone involved. Preliminary investigations suggest that the fire may have been caused by an electrical surge, which quickly spread and engulfed parts of the market. And over to foreign news. At least one person has died after the roof of a terminal building in the Indian capital's main airport partially collapsed due to heavy rains, with several domestic flights cancelled. The incident occurred in New Delhi's Indira Gandhi International Airport early on Friday, with authorities evacuating Terminal 1 and cancelling flight until 2 p.m., that is 8:30 GMT. Civil Aviation Minister Ram Mohan Naidu confirmed that. The Director of Daily Fire Services, Atul Garg, said at least 8 people were injured in the collapse in the terminal's domestic departure area. And over to sports news. The International Olympic Committee, IOC, has invited 22 Russian and 17 Belarusian athletes to compete at the Paris Olympics as neutrals, even though some have already decided against taking part. A second list of names authorized to compete in the July 26 to August 11 showpiece included competitors from tennis, shooting, and rowing. 18 athletes have already confirmed their presence: 3 cyclists, 3 trampoline specialists, 2 weightlifters, and 10 wrestlers. 2 Belarusian rowers and 2 Belarusian fencers are yet to make their response known. Meanwhile, Russian Tennis Federation President Shamil Trapikchev earlier this month said that Rublev 2021 silver medalist Karin Khachanov, as well as women's 15th ranked Lyudmila Samsonova, will not play at the Olympics. And that was our news at 10, but just before we go, always slow down at road junctions, intersections, and pedestrian crossings. You can follow us and like all our various social media platforms: X, Traffic Radio 961, Facebook, Lagos Traffic Radio 96.1 FM. On Instagram, Lagos Traffic Radio 961. Subscribe and watch our news and programs live on YouTube at Traffic Radio 961. And you can also visit our website, www.trafficradio961.ng. Did you know that the Sanwo-Olu administration donated security equipment worth billions of naira to the police? You can get details on the Lagos State Government website. And to end the news, here are the highlights of the major stories. The Lagos State Deputy Governor Bafemi Hamzat has admonished state candidates for the 87th regular recruit intake of the Nigerian Army to be good and courageous representatives of the state. President Bola Tinubu has approved the National Construction and Household Support Program and added the purchasing and selling of foodstuff worth 155 billion naira to be distributed across the nation. And we also told you that at least one person has died after the roof of a terminal building in the Indian capital's main airport partially collapsed due to heavy rains, with several domestic flights cancelled. And then in sports, the International Olympic Committee, IOC, has invited 22 Russian and 17 Belarusian athletes to compete at the Paris Olympics as neutrals, even though some have already decided against taking part. And for contact with the newsroom, send a message to info@trafficradio961.ng. That ends the news broadcast. It was compiled by Adirayodo Olaya. Thank you, Lagos, for listening. My name is Mike James. Good morning.